Israel and Iran are at war, no doubt. But of course, the involvement of the U.S. gives it another texture of discussion. And this isn't come out of nowhere. It has been building for a long time. Now, let's take a recap on what has gone off so far. The Jewish people have a long history with Persia, talking about Iran. Iran used to be known as Persia. The region we now know as Iran. By the 20th century, under Mossadegh and later the Shah, Iran was modern, secular, and relatively open to the world. It had diplomatic relations with the West, including Israel. Women were educated and active in public life. Everything changed in the 1979. That year, a radical Islamist revolution overthrew the Shah and replaced him with a fundamentalist Islamist theocracy led by Ayatollah Khomeini. The new regime turned Iran into an authoritarian, anti-Western, anti-democratic, and anti-women country that has one main ideology, which for some people is exporting its Islamist revolution and Sharia law throughout the Middle East and beyond. Within months of the Islamic Revolution, they seized the U.S. embassy in Tehran and took 52 American diplomats hostage. They were held for 444 days. The newly formed Islamic Republic of Iran started importing its Islamist agenda all over the world. They created and financed proxy armies all over the Middle East, Hamas in Gaza, Hezbollah in Lebanon, and the Houthis in Yemen. In 2019, Iran-backed militias stormed the U.S. embassy in Baghdad, Iraq. In 2023, they launched more than 170 drones and rockets attacks on U.S. forces in Iraq, Syria, and Jordan, wounding dozens of Americans. Iranian operatives have carried out bombings of Israelis in India, Georgia, and Thailand. They bombed the Saudi oil refineries in 2019. They were behind the 1992 bombing of the Israeli embassy in Argentina and the 1994 Jewish Community Center attack. And here in the U.S., Iran has plotted, according to some allegations, an assassination attempt on President Donald Trump. The Iranian regime also quietly began building a nuclear program. By the early 1990s, Israel had identified covert and rich facilities in missiles development that pointed towards a military use. They built a nuclear power plant in Israel's neighboring country, Syria, which Israel eliminated in 2007. While Iran lied to the international community, it advanced its nuclear ambitions in secret. In 2015, Iran signed a nuclear deal with the U.S. known as the JCPOA. The deal was problematic, and it allowed Iran to keep more than 5,000 centrifuges. It gave the regime a pathway to nukes. When the United States pulled out of the deal in 2018, Iran responded by accelerating everything. They enriched uranium beyond the deal's limit, stockpiled more than 20 times the allowed amount, and moved operations deeper underground, and they now have enough enriched uranium to build 10 to 15 nuclear bombs. In Shia Islam specifically, this is about the return of the Mahdi, the 12th Imam. The believers of the 12th Imam believes that Muhammad al-Mahdi went into occultation or disappeared in 1874, but that he's still alive and waiting to take over the entire Muslim world and eventually the world. They also believe that you must be proactive in ushering the 12th Imam, specifically by initiating an apocalypse with the little Satan, which is Israel, and the big Satan, which is the United States. Israel is perceived as the greatest obstacle to the reappearance of the 12th Imam. These are some of the issues, around all of this. And on October 7th, 2023, with Iran's backing, Yahya Sinwar lit a match that spread across the Middle East. But what Iran didn't understand was that this wasn't the beginning of their war. It was the beginning of their end. The regime needs to accept the reality. It is over, and that is what we've seen in the last couple of days. On Saturday, U.S. struck Iran, leading to the death of its supreme leader, and from that day, the skies of Iran has been taken over by some of the most sophisticated war equipment and facilities the world has ever known. And it's not just going to end today, because we have seen that within this war, even the Gulf states have been emerged, with Iran carrying out attacks in all of these areas. So it's day 7. We've seen casualties, as is always the case when two elephants fight, but in this case, three elephants fight, the grasses, those we can see and those we cannot see, will suffer. Human casualty has been accelerating, particularly on the Iranian side. That should be expected.